case, I buy Canadian beef. It's the best beef in the world. But I never buy American strawberries either.
Organic beef from Quebec is also not bad.
Well, let's share some of that
All
someday.
right. It's very beautiful to see. Our next theme is the cost of living. He can manage our money. Oh, we're having a hard time here. I hope they'll be able to balance the budget and maintain the same quality of services. Inflation, lower taxes. I earn a good salary, but it's hard to pay for groceries, for childcare for our kid, for everything. Education is expensive. Prices keep going up. The middle class is hurting. And for the poor, it's worse. We're retired and we're counting every penny. We're getting poorer. I feel like no one really listens to young people on housing or the cost of living. So what does the future hold for us young people? What does the future hold for young people? I'll give you a few figures here very briefly. I'm sure this won't come as a surprise, but in Montreal, housing prices have more than doubled over 10 years, from over $300,000 to $671,000. Remarkable growth in Toronto and Vancouver as well. So my question, and you'll have 35 seconds, first of all, how can we improve access to housing, for example, for this young woman that we just heard from, Mr. Blanchet?
It's through the starting capital and another GST-based
Yes, I know I'm muted because I'm talking to
access
TikTok Live as well.
for their down payment. My children can't pay for a house. A lot of them have jobs, good jobs. It's essential that we give them a little boost using public money, for example. And it's not during a crisis and in cutting budgets that we will be able to do so. We need to reduce speculation on house prices. We need to invest in affordable housing, social housing, student housing to give a good price and reduce pressure
Thank you, Mr.
in
Blanchet.
the
Mr.
residencies of
35
Canada.
seconds.
I'm with you, with all those who are having a hard time affording their groceries, or young people who can't buy a house. After a decade of liberal inflation, liberal policies have increased the cost of living the most in 40 years. I will cut your taxes for the average worker by 15%. We will scrap the GST on new homes, and we will incentivize municipalities to speed up permits and construction so that young people can once again buy a home and restore the dream of home
Sounds like a
ownership.
Canada First plan now, doesn't it?
This crisis in the cost of living, we need to make sure that Canadians have more Canada in their pockets. So that means a tax cut for the middle class. And our plan is almost $800 per family. Cut the GST on first homes and increase competition. And in Canada, we have
So basically stole Poilievre's plan, guys.
Pharmacare and daycares. We need to protect that, and we need to double new housing construction in Canada with our plan.
Very good. Thank you, Mr. Singh.
Thank you. When I talk to people and the cost of living comes up, there are two main topics. First, grocery costs. Second, housing costs. For groceries, major grocery giants are gouging us. We saw this with the price of bread, the price of meat. They drive prices up, and they are gouging the Canadian public. We are buying up affordable housing and apartments. We are in it for you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Singh. 245,000 housing units were built in 2024. You've all promised to massively accelerate the pace of that construction. The Liberals have said 500,000, the NDP 600,000. Mr. Singh, you're going to start this part of the open debate. Houses grow on trees?
We have a clear plan for how to make this happen. First, we would not sell off our federal land. We would keep it and we would build affordable housing on it, 100% affordable. We would train Canadian workers to build more homes. We also must keep the affordable housing that we do have. And unfortunately, the two major parties have let rich speculators buy up affordable housing. And now we have no more. That's a major issue. We need to keep our affordable housing and build more housing in general.
A couple of ideas. First of all, I'd like to talk for Quebec. There are delays of hundreds of thousands of houses to be built, and we don't have the human resources to do so. But there are initiatives for small housing, for social housing, modular housing, that would allow us to build quicker with fewer resources and cheaper to accommodate as many people as possible. But I'm looking forward to hearing everyone's financial framework, because we want to cut in revenue but increase expenditure. There's some financial magic that's in there somewhere. I would like to hear their financial framework or even their electoral platforms.
In a minute,
That would be
the Costa
nice.
Plan. But Mr. Carney, 500,000 housing
Yes.
units.
And we need to get started so that we can get the housing market working better with a reduction in bureaucracy at the municipal level and in fees. But we are proposing a new institution, Build Canada Homes, which is going to build affordable homes using lumber from Quebec, using lumber from British Columbia, using Canadian wood, and using new Canadian technologies. We are going to create a new industry.
It
How
seems to
can you
me
say 500,000 units? I mean, I could say 800,000,
No,
400,000. Where's this coming from?
You know, if I can have 35 seconds, we need to add funding of $25 billion for the development of affordable homes and $10 billion for...
Mr. Poilievre, you haven't costed your
yes, we will. Has been making for 10 years. During the Liberal decade, when you were the economic advisor, the cost of housing has gone up,
of England,
and you
during
inflated the cost of housing then too.
And what did the former Prime Minister of England say about Mark Carney? You guys saw that?
The real estate prices. The problem is that the Liberals want to build bureaucracy. They want to balloon bureaucracy by creating new departments, new bureaucrats. We don't need more bureaucrats. We need more homes, more new doors on new homes for young families. The reason why housing has become so expensive today is because of taxes and bureaucracy. I will eliminate the GST on new homes. I will incentivize cities to free up land and accelerate permits so that we can build your home.
Mr. Singh, then Mr. Carney.
Let us talk records. Mr. Poilievre, you were
yes,
a housing
absolutely.
minister. How many homes did you build?
Over 200,000.
I'll tell you, 6. You built 6 homes.
200,000.
6.
200,000.
We cannot believe what
you
you're
asked
saying.
a question. Can I
We
answer
cannot
it?
believe Mr. Poilievre. He only built 6 homes when he was in
200,000.
power.
Can I
can't
answer?
We know the answer.
Can
It's
What
I
an
answer?
embarrassment Singh is.
It was 200,000 that
housing costs doubled. And then when the Liberals came in, they doubled again. Unfortunately,
You propped the
Mr. Carney
Liberals up,
benefited
you
from
dumb
the housing
shit.
crisis when he
Holy
was the board
fuck,
chair
this
at Brookfield
guy is sick.
Investments. His company benefited from the housing crisis by buying up affordable buildings and tripling rents.
Mr. Carney.
Okay, Mr. Poilievre's approach is everyone for themselves. In the COVID crisis, he said, okay, let's cut taxes, let's cut bureaucracy. This crisis, now that we're facing the greatest crisis of our lives, he's saying, cut taxes, cut bureaucracy. In a crisis, you have to do that to a certain point, but you have to act as a government. And if I may, you need to have capital to catalyze investment. And with a small amount of catalyzing investment from the Government of Canada, we can create huge private investment and a new Canadian industry.
All right, Mr. Blanchet, then Mr. Poilievre.
Another proposal that I find interesting is to allow parents who have money in savings for their retirement to take the money temporarily to help for their kids' down payment. That's not $500 billion that will be required. These are not civil servants that will be fired. This is a logical decision made by parents like myself who want to help the kids without empty words, and for which there's no financial framework.
Yeah, I'll come back to that in a minute, but let's let Mr. Poilievre conclude because you were having a conversation with Mr. Carney.
Mr. Carney, in 2020 and 2021, you said that inflation wouldn't happen and that it would have been a good thing if it did. You were quoted in the media and you even advised Justin Trudeau to print money, and that's what caused our inflationary crisis. You're just like Justin Trudeau. You have exactly the same policies, the same approach. We need change.
Yep.
And you, Mr. Carney, you do not embody change.
You represent
And
the
that's why the
ultra-rich.
Conservatives win.
Mr.
People don't
Poilievre
believe Carney.
is not Justin Trudeau. I'm not Justin Trudeau either, okay? In this election,
What, you got on your
question is,
knees for Justin
who
Trudeau
is
for
going
how
to
long?
succeed? Who is going to face Mr. Trump?
Same parties, same ministers, same caucus, same ideology, same hostility against Quebec. It's not just because the leader changes that the philosophy will magically change overnight.
You are all proposing, or just about all of you are proposing tax cuts. We'll see them up on the screen here. Mr. Carney announced that on the first day of the campaign. Mr. Poilievre, $9 in savings for the Conservatives, $1,011 for the NDP, $577 for the Liberals. And the cost of those measures is really what I want to underline here. Mr. Poilievre, you're spending more on tax cuts than the NDP or Liberals. Now,
Because when you open up
you've all
industry, you
arrived
can
here
pay
this
for tax
evening
cuts. It's
with
really not that
no
hard,
costed
folks.
financial plan. It's been a long time since we've seen that at the time of the leaders' debate, the leaders don't have a costed plan. So we don't know how you're going to pay for these tax cuts. Now, I'm going to be careful how I word this, but don't you think it's irresponsible to Canadian voters to do this? Mr. Carney, you said you've got the numbers, but where's your costed
Well, as
plan?
I've just said, we'll be presenting our costed platform this weekend.
But why not earlier at an event?
There are 10 days left in the election campaign. It's about the same thing as Mr. Poilievre, as I've seen. And it is going to be costed, and the operational budget will be cleaned up. We'll balance it in 3 years. But at the same time, we will.
In terms of the costed plans, what do you have to hide? Will transfers to provinces go down, for example?
We're going to cut consultants. Believe it or not, a Canadian family is spending $1,400 in federal tax just to pay for consultants. That's been a 100% increase. I'm going to cut consultants. Secondly, we're going to cut the cost of bureaucracy through attrition. People will be retiring and we don't need to replace all of them. We can slowly, gradually reduce the cost of the bureaucracy. Third, we're going to pass a dollar for dollar bill. For every new dollar in spending, there will have to be a dollar in reduced spending. And we are going to generate $70 billion more in revenues.
Mr. Carney don't have a costed plan that we've seen.
We are the only party that has talked about ways to increase government revenues. We have talked about closing tax loopholes, getting rid of tax havens, empowering the CRA to go after corporations that are not paying their tax. Pierre Poilievre has been very honest with Canadians. He will cut healthcare.
No,
He will
not true.
cut
That's false.
EI. He said
That's
this back in
false.
2022 when he became leader of the
Not
Conservative
true.
Party.
That's false.
And Mark Carney has also said very clearly that he would make massive cuts.
No.
He would cut $43 billion worth
For
of
the first
spending.
time.
Mr.
No.
Carney, then Mr. Blanchet.
No, that's not right at all. I've said there is an operational budget that's over $200 billion a year. And that budget has grown 9% year over year over the last 10 years. We need to slow down that growth. And we'll do that with technology. We'll do that with attrition, as Mr. Poilievre has suggested. And we can do that, and we will do that. And it's necessary. But we're not going to cut transfers to individuals, nor transfers to the provinces.
So the provinces will not get less money. Mr. Blanchet, is that what you believe?
Well, I've an issue with this. These are Harry Potter financial frameworks. You need a lot of magic to make it work. There needs to be more money, but we're going to do cuts. They want to be more conservative than the Conservatives. Basic economic state that when there's
He's not wrong,
recession or
folks.
slowdown, that is when the state, well, that's why we're not saying cut taxes. We're saying make good investment. Want to do. That's what we have to do. We have to have targeted investments, health transfers so that the Maison of Rosemont Hospital can be
We'll do that.
renovated. It's time to invest in infrastructure, public infrastructure with public money so that everyone can keep their jobs.
So no tax cuts.
No, it wouldn't be a tax cut. There would be a specific budget for
It's
it.
necessary.
We have to keep going. They want to do one thing and the other. Cut, but somehow make more money. Something doesn't work.
We've started with the cost of living. We have to cut taxes for the cost of living.
What Mr. Blanchet said is true. You are talking about a magic spell here, Mr. Carney. This is one rare moment where we agree. On
And the
February
amount of
16th,
Canadians
you
that
sat
are
down
falling
with
for
Rosemary
Carney's
Barton and you said
bullshit
that you
is
would cut
fucking
spending
crazy.
in
Yes,
the operating budget.
operational spending. That's
You
different.
said
One at a time, please.
that this would affect transfers for
No.
healthcare and to
No,
individuals.
Mr. Roy, no,
I have a question.
that's not right at all. That's not right at all.
Please, Mr. Carney, you'll have the opportunity to answer later. The question that people are asking themselves, and you may have heard this, Mr. Singh, you've promised that every Canadian will have a family doctor, that there will be vastly more nurses. Does the federal should they be giving more money to the provinces for healthcare? Mr. Carney, you'll start off. More programs or more money?
First
for
of all,
programs?
the priority for the federal government is to invest and to catalyze investment in the most serious crisis we're facing in our lives. We need to catalyze private investment in our economy to create new and good jobs. That's the first thing we need to do. In terms of transfers to provinces for healthcare, yes, there are limits to the federal government's activity. No,
So no new
programs.
programs.
No.
Mr. Blanchet?
It's easy. All premiers from the provinces and territories unanimously asked for a 35% health transfer. I would like to re-explain it. The federal government receives more money than it needs. It needs $10, it gets 12. Quebec needs $10, but it only gets 8. So the federal government could take its surplus and say, I would like to invest in your jurisdictions. The Liberals and the Conservatives agree on this, and the NDP loves butting its nose into provincial jurisdiction. The Constitution sets out jurisdictions. The
All right.
easiest way is to give the money
Mr.
without
Singh?
conditions.
So Quebec,
You
not even
the-
signed into the
we do need
Constitution.
we need to
That
What is more, we are now in the midst of a crisis, a healthcare crisis. It is being felt here in Quebec and all throughout the country. We should recognize that a leader is someone who looks for solutions, not excuses. I believe that we should be investing more in fixing problems. And yes, we can work with the provinces to hire more healthcare workers. We can work with them to get through this crisis. Pharmacare is one area where everyone can come together to bring down the cost of medication. We believe in helping people.
Deciding Quebec's priorities isn't your jurisdiction. I don't
This
go to
is
your house and
something
tell
that
you
will
how to
help
paint your
out
wall, do I?
everyone.
It's money that you would refuse to give Quebec.
We can do two things at
Mr.
once. We
Poilievre?
can transfer money and then work with the provinces on other solutions.
Mr. Poilievre, more money to the provinces or more federal programs?
I think the federal government is taking too much tax revenues and delivering too little. And that's the Liberal track record after 10 years. And the question for Canadians is, you can't afford your groceries and you can't afford your rent or your housing because it's too expensive now after 3 terms of Liberal government. Will a 4th Liberal term change things for you enough for you to be able to buy a house and have a beautiful life?
Okay, for the
successful indoctrination of our youth, folks, and our seniors. It's fucking disgusting. For Berta Proud Dad, get your drill baby drill gear at bertaprouddad.com. It's not Donald Trump's slogan. It's our slogan in the oil patch. It's been used for over 100 years. You can get the Alberta version or the Canadian version. bertaprouddad.com. Go grab it now. How are you going to do that if you're not repealing C-69? You Why does Pierre Poilievre have the worst translator out of them all? It's because they lied to you, folks. You reduced it. You reduced it. You didn't cut anything. You reduced it. All to bring it back.